6 global swing states that will determine the balance of powers. The Cold War is back. The world is once again divided into 2 camps. There's the West and then there's China. So far, the Western alliance is stronger. However, the so-called swing states may change it all. These are 6 important economies who remain neutral. Which side will they choose? 1. Brazil. Brazil is South America's largest economy. Its position very much depends on its president. The current president Lula is openly left-wing. On a recent visit to Beijing, he said,
"We are interested in building a new geopolitics so that people can change the governance of the world."
He also values good relations with Russia. Brazil is one of the largest purchasers of Russian fertilizers. Lula recently spoke of abandoning the US dollar in foreign trade. He'd prefer to use the yuan. As long as Lula is in power, Brazil will remain pro-China. 2. India. India and China are opponents. However, India has become very dependent on Russia. India's president, Narendra Modi, likes anti-Western rhetoric, but in fact, India is closely integrated into the global economy. For years, it's been one of the biggest buyers of Russian weapons. Now it's also buying discounted Russian oil. This is economically advantageous. But India will never embrace China, and Russia is defaulting on its arms deals. So India will likely become closer aligned with the West. 3. Indonesia. Indonesia and China became strategic partners in 2005. Since then, Indonesia has moved ever closer to China. President Joko Widodo and Xi Jinping are friends. They've significantly boosted two-way investments. China is building highways and power plants in Indonesia. For now, Indonesia seems to be firmly pro-China. However, their security cooperation is limited. If China attacks Taiwan, Indonesian support is unlikely. 4. Saudi Arabia. The Saudis have long been seen as American allies, but this means Washington has to turn a blind eye to their misdeeds. Riyadh is demanding nuclear guarantees. Otherwise, it's threatening to launch its own nuclear weapons program. Iran remains a threat to Saudi Arabia. In exchange for security guarantees, the Saudis agreed to recognize Israel. But ultimately, Riyadh is playing its own game. 5. South Africa. South Africa's foreign policy is very politicized. The ruling party, ANC, has become very pro-Russian. In early 2023, they even conducted a naval drill together. South Africa is also good friends with China and India, but the opposition is openly critical of this rapprochement. Many South Africans believe the government is corrupt. If the ANC loses an election, the country's policies may change. South Africa depends on Western investments, but there's less and less of it. The country has become increasingly unstable. All these factors will likely play a role in its future alignment. 6. Turkey. Turkey is a unique case. On paper, it's a democracy and a NATO ally. In reality, President Erdogan has turned it into autocracy. Erdogan and his ruling party, AKP, established complete partisan control. They control the judiciary, the police, and the media. They have stoked extreme nationalism and anti-Western sentiment. Erdogan has been doing a precarious balancing act for years. Turkey is seemingly friends with both sides, but the West is getting increasingly frustrated. Any serious crisis in Turkey may collapse the whole charade. It will be forced to become either openly authoritarian or vice versa. So far, Erdogan has managed to avoid major crises.